Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's Friday, and we're working on, the $100 a day. I hope you guys all did well on the $100 a day challenge. This is the last day. And but by the way, remember last time we had said that people were going to do different numbers. Mr. Morris is up 7%. Awesome. Good job, Morris. Just let us know. And again, if you had a bad day, that's okay. There's no judgment here. And we talked about the spreadsheet. Let me pull that up. Let's do that real quick here. The spreadsheet. I put the link in the chat. I'll throw it in again. You guys can actually grab this and follow along. But there's two tabs. There's the $100 count tab, and then there's the overall for the trades. Earlier this week, I took this trade on this pound yen. You guys saw that. I was selling it on the breakout into this target right here. And the result on that was a $270 winner. And so that was pretty good. I'm still in Clorox. New Zealand dollar ended up being a loser, but I actually got another New Zealand dollar last night, which I'll talk about. And it was pretty solid. And I'm trying to do things ahead of time before, but it just happened yesterday, and so I didn't really have time. And the market moved so quick yesterday, but it's good for learning purposes, anyways. Let me show you the $100 a day. Okay, so this was all just junk. We remember, here's what we were talking about. This is all junk numbers right here. But right now, so the actual on day 3 we did 43, and so yesterday, Pierre, that's hilarious. There we go. So yesterday, I put in the screenshot for yesterday's numbers. So let's click the link and you can see what I did yesterday. So yesterday, these were all my trades yesterday. I got $54. And so what had happened was I was just doing all these tiny little trades, and you can see the winning percentage was pretty good. I only lost a couple. And had I been a little bit more patient, I would have won all of them. But again, so it was $54.94. So let's go ahead and add that in. 54.94. So that was yesterday. Oh. 54.94. And so remember, for me to bump up to get to the 150, I've got to I got to hit the $100 target. So we got, if we look at day 1, I'll pull up my account here, and so you guys can see day 1. Let's do day 1. So we're going to go to account history, and we're going to do custom period, and day 1 was the 22nd. See if that comes up. That doesn't work. The way they do their custom periods is a little weird. 22 to 23. Let's try that. Okay, that's not working. Custom period. Okay, so this was day 1, which was 126. So we got 126 on day 1. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna take a picture of it and add that to the screenshot. Good job. I actually did a great gold trade as well. Gold was nice, and I'll review that as that was a pretty good setup. And we're going to add that in. So day 1 was actually 0, but day 2 was this. So we're putting that in there. 126. So that kind of made up for it. 126. Okay, and then today, I actually got a kind of a head start on today. We're going to keep going in the room, but let's just do today's numbers. I'll just show you guys custom period. We're going to, and this is the box. We're just going to do today. Okay, so today was actually 359.24, 359.24, and it was because I got a really sweet euro trade last night. I was watching this. You see this level, and I saw this big pin bar, and so I'm like, I was working late, which I usually don't do. I was working late, and so I was like, hey, my picture's in the way. Oh, my picture's in the way. Can I move it? No, I'll have to turn that off. Okay. So anyways, I was working late yesterday, and I saw this big pin bar, right? And I'm like, oh man, this thing's going down. So I went to the 15-minute time frame, and I just was watching it. I was watching the euro, and I saw this big drop, and then it closed right here, and I'm like, okay, if this breaks this level, I'm getting in. So here was the trade. It was a big one. So I got in right here. And see, here was the short. And I could have made big money on it, but I just went for a little bit. little tiny 20 pipper, but it ended up being a nice trade. So that's what I did, and it worked out pretty well. So I was just using the daily though. I entered on a lower time frame, but I used the daily as my guide. So anyhow, we're at 359. Let me grab a shot of it. Another shot. Okay. So we'll have it. So now I'm going to put that into the screencast, which is the spreadsheet. 359, and that's actually today. That's already today. There we go. So that was what I did today. And so again, remember, if we are just going for the $100 a day, we can actually do pretty well with this, right? And you know, if you had a bad day, Carolyn, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm gonna give you a shout out for posting. I really appreciate it. You got to be, transparency is really big, okay? And so here's what I want to ask you, because when I mess up, the biggest thing we can do to really help ourselves is to own up to it, right? And so I appreciate you doing this. But the question I want to ask you is, was it a market mistake or was it you making a trading error? And either way, it's not, we're not trying to beat you up, but what I'm trying to do is help you identify the problem. For me, if the market does the thing that it's going to do, well, that's okay. But when I do something where I make a trading error, that's the only thing I can control. And that's what I'm trying to work on. That's what I'm trying to work on. So we've got, the week total now. I'm going to sum it up. Okay, so the week total was 583. So we actually did it this week. We actually did it. So now what that means is I'm going to actually fill this in as this will be our success color. If we have a successful week, we're just going to do this. Okay, so that was good. So we made the goal. Now, next week, starting on Monday, I'm gonna bump it to a 150 a day. So remember, we're gonna take small little goals, small little moves. And so to do that, I'm gonna have to increase my size a little bit, but I'm going to keep my max risk the same because I don't want to give up anything. So my max risk is going to be $200. And so I'm going to be risking 200 to make 150. And you're like, well, that's negative risk to reward. Yes, it is. But the thing is, the winning percentage is going to be higher. And so today I'm still going to trade because it's a live session and you guys are here to see me trade, right? So it's live and that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, we're going to trade, but I hit my goal. Now what I want to make sure is I'm not going to risk over $83. There's no way I'm risking over 83. No way, no way. So another trade that I nailed that was pretty nice, and it doesn't always work this way, guys. It doesn't always work so beautifully, and so it's nice when it does. The market has been moving the last couple days, which is awesome. It hadn't been doing that as much, but let's take a look at this New Zealand USD, which was a really solid setup for me. So I'm going to zoom way out, and what I had noticed was that we were at the top of a channel, okay, and it was a pretty big long-term channel, and you can see where we're at right now. So I noticed that we had popped right up into this, and that we started to get some resistance. So I just went ahead and drew a little trend line on this, and I got into it, and it went, and I put my target down here, and I ended up getting a pretty big trade. And let's see if I can actually show you the actual trade here. Let's go to the account history, and if you just drag your trades, you roll it out, and it'll show you. So there it is. Let me zoom up. You can see the little, so if you go to account history, and you drag the chart over, you just drag this like that, and you drag it on your chart, it'll draw it like this on the chart. So there is the actual trade, was the entry, and it was down. It was a 107 pip trade, and I could have gone a lot further. Just like the euro dollar. But again, I'm not trying to blow everything up. I'm just trying to get wins when I have a chance. Now, gold. Let's go to gold. Same thing. Okay, gold was another trade that went out. Okay, so here was the entry, and why did I put my entry here? So if we look at this, price had broken this level, and I was like, okay, this level broke, but I was looking big picture. I was like, okay, we're in a downward channel, and this level was, I thought this level it bounced off of here, and then it went into this level. Okay, so you can see it went right up into this level, then it went up here, and then it failed. And there was another level, which was here. And then that one was breaking. So what I did was I went back down to a 15-minute time frame, and I saw that it broke. And when it popped back up, I got into the trade on a short. So I got in right here, and it just went crashing down. And it was a nice, actually, I miscalculated. It was 250 pips. I said it was 100. Oh, no. That was New Zealand. This is gold. So gold was 250 pips, but it actually in dollars, it went from, I got in at 1,784, and I got to 1,059. So it was about a $20 move. And, you know, gold doesn't always move that every day. So when you get it, it's pretty good. How many gold traders do we have in here? If you guys are gold traders, just hit that like button for me so I can see how many gold traders we got. And right now it's bouncing and it's moving right off this level. So we're going to take some trades today, but I want to see where we're at and try to do some good analysis and find something good. Let's take a look. How many of you guys like crypto? If you guys like crypto, hit the like button, because I haven't done a lot of crypto. I've been thinking about doing some crypto, but I haven't heard anything from anyone. So I don't know if you guys actually want me to do it. But the way you'll be able to tell me is if you hit that like button and we get lots of likes, I'll know. Paul's a gold guy. So crypto, let's do some crypto. Crypto is currently testing this bottom. Okay, it's testing this bottom. So we have a support level here, support right here, and we have support in here as well. So if it breaks down here, we've got down to the $40,000 level. But one of the things that crypto's been moving really well, but you can see on the RSI, there's some divergence happening. And I had talked about saying that Hugo loves some gold. I was saying earlier that we had, I was going to talk about reversals, right? And so I'm going to actually dive into reversals in the market right now. The stock market's going down, and so we're getting some good reversals there. Sam, I don't know what a CFD is. So no, don't know what a CFD is. Teach me. So let's take a look at this. So this RSI is a 14-period RSI, which is the common standard RSI, right? Now, you'll notice that it peaked right here, but then it dropped below, and the RSI started to move lower, even though it was getting stronger. And the reason why that happens a lot of times is because of it's getting tired, okay? Because the RSI just calculates 14 daily candles back, right? That's all it does. It's RSI 14. So if we actually draw, like from here where it was peaking out, we draw 14 days, okay? And we look at these 14 days. So let me actually insert a shape. We're going to go with a rectangle, and we're going to pull it 14 days. Okay, so this is like 14. There we go. See how that works? And it's 14 days right here. Okay, so you'll notice in the 14 days, this is extremely bullish. The price movement on this was from 22,000 up to 41,000. So it doubled in a 14-day period, which is pretty huge. Now, this move was also large, but let's draw the box on it. Let's draw a box, okay? And we're going to draw, again, this box, 14 days over. And I don't know how I was, come on. Okay, there we go. So, all right, so it actually was 14. So this time, the 14 was bullish, but not as bullish because it only went up during that same period. It went from 37, or actually, went from 35 up to 57. So it went up equal about 20,000, but the thing that made it so different was the percent gain. So this one was about 20,000, but it doubled. This one was 20,000, but it wasn't double. And we'll notice also something you'll notice inside of here is that there's more red candles. A red candle right here, a red candle right here, a red candle right here. So there was a little bit more bearish momentum than there was here because these red candles were a lot smaller. So there was momentum because RSI is actually a momentum indicator. It's a momentum indicator. And Moses just filled me in on CFD. Thank you. It's a fake asset that brokers use. So if you're trading it inside of a currency account like this, then it would be a CFD, I'm imagining. Okay, good. Okay, so now we had some divergence happening because why? Because it went right up here and it didn't quite go up as high as it did the last time, right? So it was considering a divergence, which is an indication that the market is weak. So, but for me, that's never an opportunity to short ever. Because, well, depending on how we trade, because there's two ways that you trade. When you see divergence, you can trade shorts into the spikes, or you can also, Paul, yeah, this is actually, this is a $1 million challenge on 3 accounts. I'm doing it on an options account, a stock account, and also currency. And I'm talking about currency right now. This is MT4. But right now, I'm also doing a mini challenge within the big challenge, and the mini challenge is $100 a day. And you can see my spreadsheet in the chat. The spreadsheet is right here, and it has my $100 a day on it. Share the spreadsheet. I'll copy it in. Thanks, Paul. Okay. All right. So let me keep focusing. So what you can do, there's 2 ways to trade this. Number one is when you see divergence, you can try to find support and resistance levels. In this case, there was none because we're at a new all-time high. So right now, this is resistance. However, another way you can do this is wait for a trend line to break. So you can see that right here, a trend line broke. Right, it retested and then it went down, and so we've actually had a retrace from 57 all the way down to 43. So a pretty nice drop. If we look at the fibs, let's pull a fib on this as well, and you can see right here is the 50 Fibonacci level as well as support. So support and the 50 are right around 43,000. We could get and test down here. When it bounces off this, we'll see what happens. It could either bounce or go back down to the 61. And we also have this 200 period moving average, or actually a 50 period moving average, which is could hold as well as the 200. So this is a very bullish thing to trade. And yeah, the spreads are really crazy on these. If you look at it, it's 46,493, and this is 40. The current spread is about, let me see if I can actually pull it up. . So here's the actual spread. It's actually not that bad on this. 40, it's hard to see. It's not terrible. It's actually not terrible. But right now, if we're looking at this, you can see that we have a little bit of a breakout here. It broke out on the 1 minute. We are overextended, but we're breaking out. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. The 5 is currently, it just broke this little shelf, and now it's trying to break more. We've got support right here, and it just broke this little mini trend line. So this actually, I could actually try buying this real quick, and we'll add that. And so here's my entry, and we'll see if we can get a move on it. Put a stop, and you can see my spread wasn't that bad because I actually got into profit pretty quick. The commission was very high, though. It was a very high commission, and it depends on what you're trading with, but yes. Okay, so Paul is a Forex trader. Awesome. So we'll take a look at it, and we have this right up here. The size on this, I must have gone really huge because my risk is, what's my risk? My risk is actually not too bad. My risk is $1,000. So anyways, we're going to see how that one plays out, but let's keep doing some analysis. We're going to check in on the stock market as well. One trade I want to really take a look at is this pound New Zealand or pound yen, because pound yen has been so strong. And I actually did take a trade on this before the room started this morning. What I did was I've dropped this to an hourly, and I found a support level, which was right here. Okay, so I waited, and then I got a divergence situation where price had reached a low, and I had a support situation. So you can see that we had the support here. So I went long this morning on this pound yen, and it bounced really nice. The problem with this one, at this point, there really isn't a problem, but one of the problems is on a daily is it is really overextended, but we had a pullback into support. So that made it look pretty good. So I went long this morning on this one. But let's talk about, I want to talk about reversals. So that was what I put in the headline. So one of the things we want to look at on reversals is for price to begin to change direction. So when you have an RSI, I kind of went into some training on RSI, on how it works. It's 14 periods, so it's just 14 boxes. So this is right here. It's the only thing that matters is what you see in that little bit right there. Okay, so all of the other stuff is not being calculated. It's literally only calculating this tiny little amount, right? And so that, you got to put that into perspective and say, okay, it's triggering the momentum. It's showing that the momentum is down. Well, once it does that and it breaks the low, well, then you got to say, okay, what's going to indicate price changing? Well, in this case, the trend line broke, right? So you can use a support level as one vote of confidence. And then the next thing you can do is look at a trend line break. So let's take a look at my actual trade on this one. I actually did 2 of them. So I'll throw them both out there. So on this one, I had waited a little bit longer. I would have done this earlier, but I waited a little bit longer, and I got in on this breakout, right? I got in on this breakout. Well, I was like, okay, I got in on a breakout, but we still had this level, which was acting pretty solid. And so when it popped back down here, I got back in, okay? And so I got in twice. So I grabbed a trade off of this and then a trade off of here, right? So I was able to grab 2 trades, waited for the reversal to set up, and that's kind of how I did that. All right. So, now, Yabalas. If you can't click the link, you can try to find us on YouTube. All right, well, let's see. Okay. So that's one of the things we want to look for with reversals. I like to use them in conjunction with support, RSI, and a trend line break. Does anyone have any questions about that? So I want to talk about the Australian dollar. So let me go to Australian dollar. This is Euro Austrian. So Australian dollar, you guys remember we traded this one on Wednesday. And if you remember, I was taking some shorts, right? I was shorting. It had gotten overextended, so I went short, and I had taken a lot of them. But here was the thing that really helped this, okay? It went short, it went short, and it went short. And remember, I have my max risk that I'm looking at, okay? And so I was shorting, but I got myself into some trouble because it was going up, right? But I'd kept my risk really tiny. And when it got up here, I just took a bunch more shorts. I took a bunch more right here, and I took a bunch. Well, no, I didn't take here because I wasn't trading, but I took a bunch up here, and then I kept adding a couple down here. And so then I got this nice big flush, right? I got this nice big flush, and that ended up clearing out all my trades, okay? And so the reason that I was able to make that successful, and by the way, this is the EFC that you're looking at, these blue candles and these red. And you can see, though, Paul said that it works really good, but you can see that it was failure. This was a failure, and that was a failure. And then up here, it didn't trigger, but it kind of did. You see that it triggered this orange. When it gets orange like this or yellow, that means it's in territory to start looking for setups, okay? And so I realized that these two were failures, but I was just taking tiny positions. And again, how you trade is totally up to you. And I'm going to make a lot of adjustments throughout as we're doing the $100 challenge, doing different things. But one of the things that I wanted to note is I traded really small, and that gave me some room to handle one of these moves. And so I was also using the daily as a guide as well. Because I had noticed that this channel was moving, and you can see that we had that. So I was looking at that, and then I was also looking at the RSI. So I was just waiting for the move to happen, and I gave myself tiny positions, and so it was kind of like a scalping thing. I'm just taking you know what? My sound is still on my camera. Somebody was zooming by. Beautiful snowy day there. So I just muted it. Sometimes I like to watch that even when I'm trading. Okay. So that is how I was able to survive. So, hey, Frog, I saw your comment, I think, last night on my video. So I'm actually just talking about the same topic a little bit that I was talking about today about reversals. And so and using the RSI. So we had this RSI right up here, and it was pushing up into resistance. And so I was taking a lot of trades, and I was scalping it. You know, it'd go up a few pips, I'd take it, go down a few pips, I'd take it. And I was taking a bunch of tiny little trades. Well, a lot of them got away from me. The ones that I took right in here, they got away from me. I was taking them short, they got away from me. And then I added a bunch more shorts up here. And so I was able to clear out all of my positions. And that was able to help me get my $100 a day. So now let's talk about, like Carolyn. I was really glad that Carolyn said that it didn't work out for her, and she was following along. And that's why I am always saying, this is for educational purposes only, and trading is risky. Just because you see me doing something doesn't mean that you can do. Make sure you're planning your risk. I'm not making trade recommendations. I'm just showing you some different options. Not taking away from any responsibility, but I'm trying to make everyone understand that they have responsibility here, right? So with this being said, this is really critical to keep my eyes on this. And if I was wrong, and if it would have kept going here, I would have taken a loss, right? And I would have done that. So it's totally fine to take a loss if the trade doesn't work. But that was one of the reasons why I was doing it really small. And we can adjust this as time goes on. But right now, it's working for me, right? So let's go back and we're just looking. So right now on the week, I'm at 583, okay? And I'm going to try to find a couple trades here. I'm at 583, which is pretty good. And let's see if we can take a look. Maybe there's an opportunity somewhere. We're at 583. And the Euro Australian is looking pretty good. I'm thinking I might want to, what's it look like on an hourly? Still really bullish, right? So yes, it's busted into support. It's broken. It's oversold, right? So we're like, oh, is this a reversal? It's oversold because you can see the orange candles showing up, which is meaning it's oversold. So should we be looking for reversals? Well, if we look at it on a daily time frame, it's actually right up into resistance. It's right, and a reversal did trigger down here. You can see the reversal is already up 200 and some pips, and it's been really strong, but it's in a really powerful resistance level. So one thing we can do, I don't have a lot of time because it's a Friday, but we could be like, oh, okay, this thing, I could wait for this to break. I draw a trend line. I could wait for it to break. Or we have this level has already broken. It's been rejected. And now it's pushing back up into the level again. So I can try to short it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this as a quick short. And remember, I'm already had hit my goal here. So I'm not going to, oh, I took two. Wait a second. How big is that? That's a 30 pip target. Okay. So I'm going to just be looking at this. I already took my, I've already had my win, right? I've already had my win. So let's go to custom period, and I'm going to do last week, and that's the whole week. Okay, so for the whole week, we're up about $583. So now what that means is that I'm not going to let this go past $80 because I've already hit my goal. And so my max risk throughout the week was 200. But I've already hit that. So now I'm not going to give anything up past 80. So I'm going to be just watching this on pops. I'm going to short it right up into these levels. So I'm going to be watching and seeing if it happens again. Okay. All right. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it. And gold is dropping like apple is dropping from a tree. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's look at gold. So I had initially, this level is really important right here on gold. And let's take a look. We've got a downward channel. So right here, this level where it's breaking, I think we could get down to 117, right? 117.14. Let's go and zoom out a little bit more. We have this level that's breaking is pretty powerful. We have some levels right here and right here. So we're currently got some pretty key levels, and there's another one right here. And then the bottom of this channel is going to be another level, right? The bottom of this channel. So right down here is going to be, because this is actually still bullish. It's bullish, but this is a bearish trend channel. And so down here, we're going to see some possible ways to catch these bounces. So that's what we're looking at. And I'm actually not going to trade gold today, but I did on the break. I think I might wait for a bounce and a bust to the upside, but that's just me. Okay, let's go back to my Euro Australian. We've got, you can see here, let's take a look at the RSI on this. Okay, so currently we're getting up to into the 70 level. If it breaks up above 70 and I get into this resistance, I'm going to add another short. But at this point, it's actually dropping, so I might not have an opportunity to take it. But since I'm already at my my weekly target, I'm not going to be greedy, right? We don't ever want to be greedy, and so that's something we want to consider on that. All right, so now that we've done that, I'm in this trade, guys. Be watching it for me. Keep me updated. I'm going to talk about stocks. Okay, let's talk about stocks. So let me pull that up, and I'm going to show you guys some things here. So this is the S&P 500. Okay, the S&P 500. And so if we'll look at this, we're looking at the very similar type of situation. The price has moved down. We're right in a support level. It bounced off once, and now it's headed lower again. So that sometimes is not a good sign, but sometimes it is. How's that for an answer? But we do have support right here, and we have support down here. So we have a channel along with right here. The first support is this 50-period moving average along with this support level. Then if this does break, we have another one down here. So the way that we want to trade, and we want to be looking at all of the stock trades. We want to be like, okay, if we're trading stocks, what are we going to do here? We want to trade reversals. Well, I'm talking about reversals that continue the trend, because every time this had dropped, we want to do that. So let's go back down now to a lower time frame. And we're like, okay, we know that this is a downtrend. How do we know when it's going to break? Well, a couple things. Right here was a pretty solid trend line break. And stocks is a little different because you have these major gaps. And so you have to be aware of that. But we had one right here. Okay, and you see what happened. It broke, went back, retested, and then spiked. But it didn't keep going. It lost momentum. And so now we're like, okay, we got to find another reversal. So we're getting some price action. It bounced and it bounced, but we've got consolidation happening. And so really the level that I would be watching would be 386. If this thing will break above 386, well, then I will probably consider entering on this. And you can be doing the same kind of things with all of the stocks that you're trading. But I'm just wanting to note, let's look at a weekly time frame. You can see on a weekly, it's down 1-2 weeks in a row. And so it hasn't been down 2 weeks in a row in a while. The last time was over here in November. And then before that was October. And then before that was September. And then we had another 3 week. This was a really big drop where it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. And the thing about this was when the pandemic just hit. There was a lot of panic and craziness, and the move was really massive. It actually went, the SPY went from 338 all the way down to 216. So it had a major reset. And if we can take a look, it went right back into one of the support levels. It went right back into this level. So these levels are important. You see there's a level right here. It was here and it went right there. Levels are important. And if we pick one to draw a fib, I bet we'll see some fib action as well. We draw that. You can see that it was at the 78.6 fib level in conjunction with the support. And, you know, these levels a lot of times will coincide with each other. But again, I'm not, I'm looking for reversals, and you look for reversal signals. And right here, you got a bounce, a really big bullish candle. That was a great signal. So there's a couple of stocks that I want to look at, and one of them is WMT, and that's because of Moses. I didn't want to look at it until he told me, and now I do. So this is actually just broke out of a downward channel, and it's pretty bearish, pretty powerful drop. But it is currently at a level. So I'm going to take a look. We have a level, and it's breaking the level. right? So that means I'm not really interested in buying this. We have some other support levels. There's a couple levels to look at. One right here, and right here and here. So we want to trade a reversal, right? So what we're going to want to watch for is for price to break down into these levels, okay, and then consolidate. You want consolidation, like 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row where it's just inside this zone. And then when that consolidation happens, then you look for the break. We also have this trend line to be aware of. It's breaking below that as well. And it's kind of an imperfect trend line because we have this. So we can watch for this moving average. This is the 100 period MA. Watch and see, but watch for where it stops. Right now, this is definitely not a time to buy, in my opinion. I personally wouldn't. I would be waiting for some consolidation. All right, well, let's take a look at FNKO. That was another one that I've been watching. FNKO, you can see we had a good week this week. It started out lower, and today we're bouncing up. I'm still in on this trade. Let's see what we look at on the daily. Today it's still moving up. We had a big spike yesterday, and then today we're getting some bounce action. Let's take a look at FUBO. That's another one that I've been trading. And this one is still inside of this wedge, and it held up here, but it faked, and now it's headed lower, and we're not getting a big bounce. So that's actually not a good sign for it. It has held the support level pretty good, but we'd like to see that if it bounces. But one other thing I wanted to show everybody was that I currently had bought some calls on it. I bought some I didn't buy calls. I sold calls. So I collected premium, and my calls were, let's go to a daily. The calls that I bought, let's see if did I add that to the, let's pull up the that spreadsheet here. Okay. Oh, let me check this. Okay, so my my Euro Australian is still moving up. See if we can get a little more of a pop. And this EFC actually looks like it hit the take profit on a 1-minute chart, which I don't usually trade the signals on that, but it did hit the TP. So waiting for this to pop. And I was going to check the spreadsheet real quick. If you guys don't have access to the spreadsheet, I'm going to post the link in the chat so you guys can do that. You guys can follow along with me. And Rouhani made a really nice request. They said everyone should practice and do the paperwork. You know, practice is really good, especially for learning your platform. And then when you do start small. That's why we're doing the $100 a day, right? We're doing $100 a day to start. Okay, actually, so that's that. And I was going to put this. So I sold FUBO calls, right? I sold the calls. And so the call that I ended up selling was a 54. You can see it was a 54 for today. It expires today. So I was able to get a nice credit on this. And you can see we bought it on Monday. And so we got it like 20 cents or so. I'd have to go back to the video to see exactly. No, we got it for 27. I got it for 27 cents, and now it's at 3 cents. So I was able to collect a lot of premium on that. And the good thing is today it's going to expire worthless. So I'm going to get 100% winner. It was about $200. So that's, again, if I do that every week, it's $200 a week just for holding that. So yeah, it was called a covered call because I own shares of this. And so I'm just collecting the money until it breaks up. And there's going to be earnings on this next week. And so I'm not going to do a covered call with earnings because we get a huge spike. But then after the earnings, I might do that. We might get a huge spike or huge drop. So you want to be aware of earnings when you're doing covered calls. That's something you want to take a look at. All right. So let's keep looking here. We got HEXO. HEXO is another one. I'm just waiting. I like where we're at with this because it's consolidating. I've been taking this one so many times, and it's in a great position right now. It could possibly pop up 740, back up. We could almost double on this. If it comes back down here and we get a break, we can get in around $6, $7, get in for 12. That's like 80% gain, right? And it already has doubled a couple times, and I have doubled my trade size on this. So that's pretty good stuff. Always fun to be able to do that. But again, I'm not entering until I get a really valid signal. Like the last time I traded this was right here. And you see the valid signal was this break. I believe my entry was about 664, and I can't remember where I got out, maybe $11. So it was pretty close to 80% gain or so. So pretty nice setup on that one. AMD, I'm still holding, and I haven't even looked at it today. So that's a good question there. Good question. Thank you. What did you do with AMD? Thank you. AMD. So AMD, I'm still holding. We bounced off the bottom of this channel. So it's still looking pretty good. My entry was really terrible. I got in at the top of this. I thought it was breaking out. So it was a pretty bad entry. And so I'm going to be watching this. But what I'll probably do is watch this for a nice trend line break here. I'd like to see some consolidation down in here. It'd be great if we could come down here, get some consolidation, then a nice break. And I might add some more shares at that point to bring my cost down. And then if it pops, we could get a good move. Still hasn't really shown me anything as far as wanting to get out of this because it's still got support levels right here. There's still a lot of support that's being held. Support over here, support over here, support over here, support here. So I'm still pretty confident on this one. My timing was off a little bit, but yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about AMC and GME because that's been exciting. You can see we had a big move up here, and I'm still holding this one that I took a long time ago. I should have averaged in. Averaging in can be a big thing, which basically means I bought in at 12. When it comes down to 5, you basically lower your position cost. And I wasn't paying enough attention. So shame on me. But I should have got back in here, especially with this price action you're seeing. You can see it right now. We're actually have really good price action on this. And what I mean is the support levels are holding. Okay, so there's support right here. There's support right here, and we have support right here. Okay, so these levels are really important. What I'd be looking for is watching for consolidation. And again, this is a great setup. You see this nice consolidation, and then it had a big break here. So this would be the perfect entry right there, consolidation. And so I'm not as big a fan as the big drop and a big bump. Like here's a drop and a bump. I'd rather see this sideways consolidation than the burst. Like we see here, consolidation and then the burst, right? So right now we're dropping down. I'd like to see consolidation in this range and then another burst. So definitely something to take a look at. And we'll look at now. Moses wants me to look at CL. This is 15 minutes. Let's do daily. Colgate. So Colgate, we have support, right? Okay. So at this point, we're at support. We have a big cluster up here, and then it just collapsed. So right now, not interested in buying this at all. Because why? Because there's absolutely no upward momentum whatsoever. So the good news is on this is that it's holding. Okay, so if we want to buy some calls or something, you could do that and give it some time and see if it bounces up. I mean, we could do that, but I'm into higher probability, right? Higher probability. So that means that I would love to see the consolidation, like what we saw here. consolidation, consolidation, and it was a fake out. It consolidated and it broke to the upside, but it didn't move. It didn't actually happen. So right now, I'd be looking for consolidation and then a break to the upside. And I prefer to trade upward trending stocks. You know, so like what we saw in HEXO, where it's pulling back into a trend line. These trend lines have already broken. So I'd prefer to actually break all of these again. And so I'd rather have it go up here, pull back into support. Let me show you what I'd be looking at. So I'd like to see it go like up into that, pop up here, right? Pull back like that, and then take another move up, and then take a move down here into support, right? And then you have your support level. Here's your support level right here. And then when it breaks and comes back up, right? So the way I'd like to trade is finding something that's trending up like this and then catch these moves. Catch a move here, catch a move here. And it is doing that technically, right? It is doing that. If we go long term, it's doing that. So we could catch this one. But the problem with me is it's been very deep, and it's got right now all of the momentum belongs on all the momentum belongs here. So gold is melting. Let's go ahead and look at gold. Wrong account. Gold is melting. Okay, so gold is working against me right now because of this. But look, wow, it really collapsed. Look at that. So for those of you guys that took this trade, congrats. We had mentioned that this was a level, and look at it go, right? Look at it go. So this support level could hold, and that's something we could look at. What possibly seeing a bounce here. But if you're in this, I would be looking at taking profit down here. There is the long-term level down here, but it might consolidate first. But you never know, right? Sometimes it will slice through that. Sometimes it'll slice through that level like hot knife through butter, right? So we don't know. So, you know, you could take a piece of it and let that thing go. But in the meantime, I'm only going to take an $80 loss on my current trade. So if it doesn't get a support bounce here, I'm going to just close it. But I have some support right up here. And so I can add another position. But right now, it's actually not looking real good because I've got support right here as well. I've got support here and here. But I'm just going to try to catch a couple small moves, and maybe if it comes back here, I'll just get out of everything. But right now, why do I say it's not looking good? Well, because look at this trend. I'm doing the exact opposite of what I just said to do when I was showing you the training. I said I like to buy on pullbacks. We got the pullback, and instead of buying on the pullback, I shorted on the pullback. So I was reading yesterday. So I'm being a bad example, sort of. I'm sort of being a bad example. On a long-term time frame, I'm being a good example. So before I beat myself up too much, I'm actually right into support right here. Support, support, support. But I haven't gotten the actual change of directions yet. Hasn't changed direction yet. But you can see on a 4-hour time frame, we're pushing into support, and so I'm like to see a little bit of a pushback. But we did get already a pretty massive pushback here, and it didn't really reject, or I mean, it rejected hard. And now it's trying again. So on the second time, it might be the time that it goes. But again, I'm just going to watch this. If it doesn't, if I get to the -80, I'm done because I'm trying to get my 500. So the other thing is too, it just broke the 50. Just broke the 50. Yeah. This level is going to give it some issues, I think, but it might not. It might just slice it. But it's a Friday, so we'll see. It's Friday. Lots of stuff can happen. Oh, the one other stock that I've been trading a lot is CRM. Let's take a look at CRM, see what we got with that. Oh, man, that thing totally collapsed. That's not good. It's right back to where I got in at. So I got in right back down here, and it's totally collapsed. And so now we're right in the middle of this trend line. Let's see how it reacts on this 200 period. If we get consolidation here and then a bounce up, it could be a good sign. But this is very bearish. And what happens in the overall market might have a difference on this as well. Let's take a look at CLX. CLX. Okay, this is the other one that I'm looking on a channel. Moving down, trying to find some consolidation in here and a bounce. If we get any consolidation, a bounce could be one that will continue up into the upward move. Okay, so let's go back here. Gold. Gold is right into support right now. Let's take a look at a lower time frame, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but look at that. What a move. And I was short that yesterday, and I took my profit down here. Should have held on to that a little longer. All right, so I'm going to just close it up this week, and I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank Carolyn, Moses, Ben, Morris, Mark, Frog, everybody who was helping. I just want to thank everyone. Keep participating. Keep the participations going. And make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe so you get the notice. Next week, we're going to go for $150 a day instead of the $100 a day. So you're going to name your next baby gold, Paul. That's funny. So make sure you guys come in. I want everybody to try to just do a little challenge with me. Remember, it's educational purposes only, but if you can do practice account or a small amount, just do a small amount of what you're trying to do each day. Even if it's only $2, even if it's only $2 a day, just do it and see if you can do it, right? And we did it for the first week. Want to congratulate everyone. But again, hit the like button and the subscribe so that you get notified when I go live and when I do trade updates and things like that. Paul, Ben says you should name him Midas. But didn't things work out poorly for Midas? I don't remember the story. I'm going to have somebody come in and tell it to me, but I don't think it didn't work out too good for him. Yeah. Okay, so right now I'm up a little bit on this one, but remember I'm going to close the whole thing if I get down. But I'm gonna shove off for now. But I just want to thank everyone for participating, and we'll keep everybody updated on how it all works out. All right. Well, thanks.